They watched him 24/7, yet he was still behind every crime. The prison had a rule. No one said out loud, but every guard knew it. Every officer followed it. And every camera was pointed at one man. His name was Daniel Kress. Daniel Kress never left the cell. Not for yard time. Not for meals. Not even for medical checks, unless it was life or death. Everything came to him. Food, water, medicine, everything. His cell was different from the others. It had no blind spots. For cameras, one in each corner, another one outside the door, and 2 more in the hallway. 7 cameras, all watching one man, all the time, 24 hours a day. Keep your eyes on him. That's what the warden always said. Every second matters. Daniel didn't look dangerous. That was the strange part. He was quiet, thin, always calm. He didn't shout. He didn't fight. He didn't even talk much. Most inmates caused trouble. Daniel did not, and that made him worse. Because Daniel Kress was not in prison for violence. He was in prison for something much harder to understand. He was a planner. Years before prison, Daniel had been involved in crimes that shocked everyone. Not because of blood, but because of how perfect they were. Banks robbed without alarms. People scammed without knowing. Money moved without being traced. Police could never prove it at first. But every time they got close, Daniel was there, behind it, watching, thinking, planning. When they finally caught him, it took years. And even then, they were not sure how much he had really done. That's why he was locked away the way he was. Not just locked, watched. People like him don't need to move, one officer once said. They just need time. And time was something Daniel had a lot of. The first sign, it started on a normal day. Nothing special. No alarms. No warnings. A small shop in the city was robbed. No broken door. No loud noise. No witnesses. Just empty shelves. And missing money. Police said it was clean. Too clean. Detective Mara Cole was called in. She had seen cases like this before. Not many, but enough. She walked through the shop slowly, looking at everything, touching nothing. This wasn't random, she said. Then what was it? The officer asked. She didn't answer right away. She just stared at the empty counter. Then she said something strange. Check the old files. Which ones? She looked up. The Kress files. The officer frowned. You mean Daniel Kress? He's in prison. Mara nodded. I know, but check anyway. Back at the prison, at the exact same time, Daniel Kress was sitting on his bed. He was reading a book, slowly, carefully. Camera 1 showed his face. Camera 2 showed his hands. Camera 3 showed the door. Camera 4 showed the whole room. Everything looked normal. Too normal. One of the guards yawned. Another sipped coffee. Same thing every day. One said, guy doesn't even blink. But that wasn't true, because Daniel did move, just a little. His fingers, tap, pause, tap, tap, then still again. No one noticed. The pattern begins. 2 days later, another crime, different place, same style, no forced entry, no struggle, no noise, just clean work. Detective Mara looked at both reports side by side. Her face didn't change, but inside, something clicked. This is the same person, she said. But how? Her partner asked. She didn't answer. Not yet. Instead, she made a call to the prison. The footage. They sent her the video. All of it. Every minute. Every second. Mara watched alone. No interruptions. No talking. Just her and the screen. At first, nothing. Daniel reading. Daniel sitting. Daniel lying down. Normal. Then she paused, rewound, watched again. His hand. Tap. Pause. Tap, tap. Mara leaned forward. That's not random. She whispered it, like she didn't want anyone else to hear. Something is wrong. She watched more footage, hours of it, and the pattern kept coming back. Different times, different speeds, but always the same idea. Tap, pause, tap, tap. It wasn't nervous. It wasn't stress. It was controlled. Is he counting? She asked. No one answered, because no one knew. The fear starts. Mara went back to the reports. She lined up the times. Crime time, video time. Her hands slowed, then stopped. The tapping happened right before each crime. Every time, her heart started beating faster. No. She checked again. Still the same. She looked up slowly. That's not a habit. That's a signal. Back in the cell, Daniel stopped tapping. He closed his book, looked up, straight at the camera, and smiled. Not big, not obvious, just enough, like he knew something no one else did, like he was waiting. Detective Mara Cole did not sleep that night. She stayed in her office. Lights off, screen glowing. The footage kept playing. Again, and again, and again. Daniel Kress sitting, reading, breathing, and then the tapping. Tap, pause, tap, tap. Mara leaned closer. She wrote it down this time. Every movement, every pause. Tap equals short, pause equals space. Tap, tap equals longer signal. She stared at her notes. Then she whispered, "This is not random." The code. Morning came. Mara was still there. Same chair, same screen. Her partner, Lewis, walked in. He stopped when he saw her. "You can go home?" Mara shook her head. "Look at this." She showed him the notes. Lines of taps, dots, spaces. Lewis frowned. "What am I looking at?" Mara pointed at the paper. "It's a pattern." "Yeah, but what does it mean?" She paused, then said it slowly. "I think it's a code." Lewis laughed a little. "A code? From inside a prison cell?" Mara didn't smile. "Just watch." She replayed the footage. Paused at the tapping. "See the rhythm?" Lewis crossed his arms. "Could be nothing." Mara shook her head. "No, it matches the crime times." That made him stop. "What do you mean?" She turned the screen. "Every time he taps like this, a crime happens after." Lewis stared, then looked back at her. "You're saying he's controlling it?" Mara didn't answer, because even she didn't fully believe it yet. Testing the theory. They needed proof, not guesses. So Mara made a plan. They would wait, watch, and record everything. If Daniel tapped again, they would be ready. Hours passed. Nothing happened. Daniel just sat there, quiet, still. The guards relaxed again. "See," one of them said. "He's just a guy." Mara didn't respond. She kept watching. Then it happened. Daniel moved his hand. Slowly. Tap. Pause. Tap, tap. Mara froze. "Time," she said quickly. Lewis looked at the clock. 11:42 a.m. Mara wrote it down. Fast. "Now we wait." The call. At 12:03 p.m. The phone rang. Everyone turned. Lewis picked it up. "Listen." Then his face changed. "What?" Mara stood up. "What is it?" Lewis covered the phone. "Another robbery." Mara felt her chest tighten. "Where?" "Downtown bank." She looked at her notes. 11:42. She whispered, "It's happening again." The impossible link. They rushed to the scene. Same pattern, same style. No forced entry. No panic. No mistakes. Perfect. Mara walked slowly through the bank. Her mind was not there. It was still in that cell. "This doesn't make sense." Lewis said, "He's locked up." Mara nodded. "I know, but he's still doing it." Lewis shook his head. "That's impossible." Mara turned to him. "Then explain it." He couldn't. No one could. Back to the prison. This time, Mara didn't just watch. She studied everything. Every corner. Every shadow. Every second. "Who has access to him?" she asked. The warden answered. "Only staff. Meals. Cleaning. Medical." Mara nodded. "Anyone else?" "No." She looked at Daniel on the screen. Sitting. Calm. Then he's not working alone. The guards. They started checking staff. One by one. Names. Shifts. Schedules. Nothing stood out. Everyone looked normal. Clean records. No links to crime. Too clean. Mara didn't like that. People always leave something behind, she said. But not this time, Lewis replied. Mara looked back at the screen. Daniel was lying down now, eyes closed. Or maybe, she said slowly, we're looking in the wrong place. The realization. Mara replayed the tapping again. This time, she listened, not just watched. Tap, pause, tap, tap. Her eyes widened. Morse code. Lewis blinked. What? She grabbed a pen, started writing. Dot, dash. Her hand moved fast. Letters formed. She stopped. Read it. Then read it again. Her voice dropped. He's sending messages. Lewis stepped closer. To who? Mara looked at the screen. At Daniel. That's what we need to find out. The fear grows. Because now, this was no longer a guess. It was real. Daniel Kress was communicating from inside a locked cell, under constant watch. And someone out there was listening. Back in the cell, Daniel opened his eyes. He looked straight at the camera again, like he knew, like he always knew. His fingers moved slightly. But this time, he didn't tap. He just smiled and waited. The room was quiet, too quiet. Detective Mara Cole stood in front of the screen. Daniel Kress stared back. Between them, glass, distance, and something far more dangerous. A connection no one could see. He's using Morse code, Mara said again, slower this time, so everyone understood. The warden crossed his arms. You're telling me he's sending messages from inside that cell? Mara nodded. Yes. And someone outside is receiving them? Mara didn't hesitate. Yes. The room went silent, because if that was true, the prison wasn't secure. It was part of the crime. Breaking the code, Mara and Lewis sat down with the footage. Hours of it. Every tap, every pause, every movement. They wrote everything down, translated it, line by line. At first, it didn't make sense. Random letters, broken words, then patterns, repeated phrases. Lewis leaned closer. Wait, this part. Mara looked. Move. She flipped pages. Found it again. Wait. Another page. Now. Her heartbeat slowed, but heavier. These aren't random words. They're commands. The bigger picture. They match the messages with the crimes. Move. Suspect seen leaving location. Wait. Delay before action. Now. Exact moment crime begins. Mara stepped back. He's not just talking. He's controlling everything. Lewis shook his head slowly. But how does someone even see this? Mara turned to the screen. That's the question. The hidden receiver. If Daniel was sending signals, someone had to be watching. But who? There were no phones, no visitors, no contact, nothing. Unless Mara's eyes moved slowly across the screen. Camera 1, camera 2, camera 3, camera 4. Then the hallway camera. Zoom in, she said. The tech officer adjusted the image. A guard walked past. Normal. Another. Normal. Then a cleaner pushing a cart. Mara leaned forward. Pause. The frame froze. Zoom on the cart. They did. Inside. Supplies. Cloth. Spray. And something small. Too small to notice at first. A phone. Hidden. Lewis stepped closer. No way. Mara didn't speak. She just stared. The link. The cleaner passed Daniel's cell. Not stopping. Not looking. But the cart slowed. Just slightly. Long enough. Mara whispered. He can see the camera feed. Lewis looked confused. What do you mean? Mara explained. If the phone is streaming the footage, someone outside can watch Daniel and decode the taps. Lewis's face dropped. So Daniel doesn't need to escape. He just needs someone watching. Mara nodded. And someone is... The arrest. They move fast. No delays. The cleaner was stopped. Right in the hallway. At first, he acted normal. What's going on? But when they searched the cart, they found it. The phone. Still on. Still recording. still streaming. The man's face changed. Fear, real fear. Who are you sending this to? Mara asked. No answer. Talk. Silence. Lewis stepped forward. You're a part of this. You know that. The man shook his head. I didn't do anything. Mara held up the phone. You're helping him. The man's voice cracked. I just watch. Mara's eyes sharpened. Who else is watching? The man hesitated. Then he broke. I don't know their names. They just pay me to stream it, to keep the camera on him. Mara felt a chill. How long? The man whispered. Months. The network. That changed everything. This wasn't one person. It was bigger, much bigger. A network. People watching Daniel, decoding his signals, following his orders, committing crimes, all while he sat in a locked cell. Mara stepped back slowly. He built this from inside prison. Lewis looked at her. Then how do we stop it? Mara didn't answer right away, because she already knew it wouldn't be easy. Back in the cell, Daniel Kress sat quietly, hands resting, eyes calm, like nothing had changed. But something had. The stream was gone. The connection, broken. For now, Daniel looked at the camera. His face didn't show fear, didn't show anger. Only one thing, disappointment. Then, slowly, he lifted his hand and tapped. Once, tapped